Hi folks, it's Don Franceschi with today's 2-minute speaking tip. And it seems like deja vu from yesterday. Still raining outside, I'm still sick. But we have a new tip for today, and that is don't have Q&A at the very end of your talk. That's a long tip. Why shouldn't you have Q&A at the very end of your talk? Well, let's talk about Q&A to start with. In most business situations, when you're doing a presentation, it's almost mandatory that you have a Q&A section. Now, some presenters like to do it as they go, and there's pros and cons to that. There's some folks that have designated chunks of time that they allow during the presentation for Q&A. That can work too, pros and cons on that as well. And there are a lot of folks that like to put it at the very end of their presentation. In other words, they give the whole presentation, and at the very end, that's when they have their Q&A. I'm going to suggest to you that that's not an effective strategy. And this is why. We tend to remember what we heard first and what we heard last when someone speaks. It's called primacy and recency. That's why it's so important to bang the beginning of your presentation. And that's why it's also so important to have your last words really matter. Have some memorable words. If you open it up to Q&A, you lose that ability because you could have questions that come out of left field that surprise you, questions that come out of right field that surprise you. And if that happens, you lose the control over that talk. So what I suggest is if the format kind of mandates that you have it near the end, that's okay. Have it near the end, but make it clear. We'll have some question answers, and then I'll finish up with some final thoughts. Let your final thoughts be your own. Don't have the Q&A at the very end of your talk.